what were the early days like? And your sister and you started the company.
Yeah.
So what were those early days like?
So I was still figuring out what to do now that I'd chosen to stay back. And my sister was with the World Bank at that time. And she'd also studied abroad in London and DU, etc. It had started the problem. We had identified the problem in our personal lives a little early. It was just that we chose to solve it after a year. So when I'd come back, I trained all my life in Delhi, right? Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, Siri Fort. I knew all of it. But now I'd seen a different world. I'd come back, and if I wanted a gym membership, and I knew I was here for a small period of time, right? I wasn't here for the whole year or whatever. So if you wanted a gym membership, they wanted you to pay for the whole year, right? And I was like, boss, I go to the same hairdresser for the last 20 years. He has never told me to pay for the whole year. Right? Nobody in my consumption basket, not my landlord, not my grocer, not my utilities, not my cable, nobody tells me to pay for the whole year and then hopes that I don't use you.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
So this was one thing that was really bothering me, that this is one industry where the consumer is not the king. Right? And the supply side is behaving as if they can function without consumer enjoying their experience, right? Because usually in every other industry, you'll see suppliers or vendors or whoever, the supply side, welcoming customers. Here, the gyms would have a bouncer, right? They didn't want you to enter. When you entered, there was so much friction, right? It's as if, so this whole thing, I wouldn't understand fully, and it really bothered me. But I had not chosen to solve it. Arushi hadn't chosen to solve it. So we were like, it is what it is. But now, because I'd also seen a different world, I knew I couldn't do only strength training the whole time. Right? I couldn't just go to the gym and keep lifting weights. In India, CrossFit had picked up, Reebok, CrossFit, etc. was already popular.
Right.
So I also wanted to do some CrossFit, some functional training, some plyometrics, some jumps, whatever.
Right.
So that meant I needed a second membership.
Yeah.
So I paid 25,000 to a gym, which is also not a full stack gym.
No.
Then I pay 20,000 or 25,000 to a CrossFit studio. So 50,000 a year. That is, then we started looking at data that, okay, average age of India at that time in 2015 was 26. Today we're 28, 29 or 25, 26 it was. Yeah. The average income was 25,000.
And you're being asked to pay 25,000 for just a subscription.
So okay. Yeah. So then you're telling me that the gyms are empty. And then what was happening at the gym side? Everybody would open it. They would talk about how much they invested in opening up a center.
Right.
3 years later, they had a very different story, right? Either they would flip or not work, shut it down. So what was their problem? Their problem was they did not get enough members. What was the member side problem? That they did not have it at the right price point. Because if you're earning 25,000, let us say even if you're earning 30, 40, 50,000, you have to pay your rent, pay your tax, go for a movie, go on a date, buy fast fashion, go to Starbucks, and get fit, right? You can't remove everything else from your life and then only have a fitness wallet. So I have to fit your wallet share, whether or not I like it. Yeah. That is the wallet share. So if you don't solve for it, then both these sides are only standing at the gate, but he's not coming in and you're not able to welcome him in. So that is when we decided that, and Arushi had her own experience that she loved to mix workouts. So dance was one thing that she really liked. Yoga was one thing she really liked. So dance studio separately, yoga studio separately, and a gym separately. That's 3 memberships. And even though she was at the World Bank and earning well, didn't mean that you could still spend 30, 40,000
across all of these in different places.
Yeah.
And this is a situation that was unique primarily to India, right? Because with your exposure to the US and the UK, you'd have seen that over there, such a situation didn't exist. You could take shorter term memberships. Yes. You could do a whole bunch of, activities that could be clubbed together at
absolutely
clubs
and
as well.
So 2-3 things were happening abroad, right? One is people think that culturally the West is more predisposed to fitness, which I disagree with. Okay. Culturally, the West is more accessible for fitness. Yes. Okay. The sports infrastructures are there, outdoor parks are there, pollution is not a problem, weather is okay. And also gyms and fitness centers, I think, are were more business savvy. In India, initially in 2015, etc., gyms were mostly set up as second or third businesses by somebody. Okay. They were not entrepreneurs whose only focus was the gym, right? They might have had a real estate business or something else, and then they had a gym. Yeah. So as a secondary, tertiary business, it would never get the same amount of focus or dedication or love for the customer as needed to grow a business, grow an industry. One was that. Second, here because they were unutilized in India, even today, I think gyms barely operate at 30% utilization.
Not surprised.
Yeah. So because they were unutilized, they would price themselves incorrectly. So the whole focus was selling yearly membership. So they would price it so inefficiently that a day pass would be prohibitively expensive because they wanted to push you as a customer to buy the year.
Correct.
The month, if you took the monthly membership and times that by 12 as a year, it would be 4 times or 5 times what their annual subscription plan is.
Correct.
Right? This is not what the West was. West was pro rata. The pricing was okay.
Right.
Because they wanted you to come in, because they understood the more people, you actually make money when people use you. You don't make money when you hope that people pay you once and then never come back. Because in India, the biggest problem gyms had was retention. And that is where we really had to step in and explain to them that, guys, everybody thinks that revenue is 25,000 for a member. What you really have to understand is what does it cost you to get that 25,000? And that nobody had done. And I think in 2015, when we started, Paytm, etc., were digitizing Kirana stores.
Correct.
Ola and Uber and Ola were digitizing taxis, but nobody had taken the internet to the fitness world. And when we went, first we had to convince the bouncer that why we have come. If we're not members, why are we at the gym? Then he got convinced. Only then we'd meet the manager. And if the manager got convinced, then we'd meet the Bauji who owns the gym. So it wasn't the easiest, because at least with Kirana stores and taxi operators, you were meeting
access to the key stakeholder.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.